Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another exciting episode of All About You. In today's video, we will be doing our second Naruto profile. So again, as you guys know, Bandai created Naruto Shippuden, the card game, and they created Dragon Ball. And we have multiple different games that are just amazing from that company. But in today's profile, we're gonna take it back with Pain. Pain is one of the most iconic characters in Naruto. He pretty much was the head of the Akatsuki, even though unfortunately Toby was behind everything. So in the card game, he plays a really big role. The deck revolves around turn marker manipulation. So as we know, the further you are ahead of your opponent in your turns, essentially more advantage you're gonna have. So Pain delivers that, and not only that, but he also has the ability to lower your opponent's turn marker. Imagine constantly being hit down. Remember, you start off on turn 0 and you move up every turn to turn 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And what that means is that if Pain is constantly hitting your turn marker, you're going to be going down. So as you're climbing up, you're going down, and that sets you back. It's a very controlling archetype. If you look at my previous Naruto video battles, you would actually see that the deck that I'm about to preview is the deck that I played. So now you actually can get a deck list with the deck that you saw the footage for, which was a pretty nice video with my friend LD. But anyways, guys and girls, let's begin. We run 3, Nagato Childhood. Now, this guy, as a requirement in order to play, you have to reveal a rain card from your hand, which this includes multiple different ninjas that we run in this deck. When this ninja is discarded, you can move this card into your chakra area. In that case, you can boost your turn marker by 1, which is great. So you can get ahead of your opponent while gaining chakra, which is essentially really good. Not only this, but he's also the main user for a jutsu that we run in the deck, which we'll go over later. We run 3, Giant Chameleon. Now, his ability, he gets -2/-2 if you don't control any rain ninja cards. So if I control him on board, he becomes a 5/2, which is his original stats. So he's a very heavy statted ninja, but if you don't have the right board, or if that's your first card being played, he's only going to be a 3/0, which is not too bad. It's kind of standard for a 0 drop. Also, valid, when you would sacrifice this ninja, you move him back to your hand, which is great because he constantly provides for you being able to bring out big threats. Our next card, 3, Giant Panda. Now this guy is really busted. He's one of my favorite cards of the deck, and the reason why is, for one, he has a valid effect. Anytime any of your Void Ninjas would be injured or receive damage, you can choose to give him a damage instead. That's amazing, because in this game, when you go into the showdown, when you're battling other ninjas, team versus team, you receive damage. There are jutsus that allow you to give damage. There are ninja effects and mission cards that allow you to give damage to your opponent. So this guy covers all angles, and anytime one Void, for this matter, would take a damage, he'll just absorb it all. And even if you have a card that targets the whole team and the whole team would take damage, he absorbs all of it and takes the damage instead. And then a nice little perk is when he's sent out to block, he gains +1/+1. So essentially he becomes a 1/3 on the block, on the defense. Now moving on to our turn 1s. I only run 9 0 drops. Again, I'm very well known for running the least amount of 0 drops because I only run the most essential cards for any deck to operate. We run 2, Giant Rhino. Now, he is another very interesting card. For one, he is non-unique. And a lot of you guys may not know this. You can only have 1 ninja card of the same name on the field at any given time. But if that card has non-unique, you can have several copies of it on the board. Now, this guy, he has a very cool effect. He takes on the stats of the highest entrance cost ninja on the board. That X on that card stands for whatever ninja has the greater power. So example, if your opponent, let's say, has a turn 4, and that ninja is a 5/3, he'll gain X, which is 5. So he'll become a 5/2 status ninja. This is amazing because he can go based off of your field or your opponent's field. So if you control the highest entrance cost ninja, he'll also gain those stats, which if you see footage of my gameplay, you'll see that my Giant Rhino actually takes the stat of my biggest pain of the deck, which is amazing because he becomes an 8/2. Now, not only this, but effect text of Renegon ninjas cannot be negated, which is super crucial for this deck because a lot of cards that would interact with you, they don't, because he pretty much shields your guys from your opponent's effects. We run 3 Pain Animal Path. She is one of the pieces, the most important pieces of the deck. Her ability is, for one, she has sacrificed one ninja or one client. So in this deck, you'll more than likely sacrifice a ninja. Now, attacking mission phase. When you can discard one card from your hand, in that case, you can put in play any animal, but it has to be Renegon plus animal from your discard pile into play, which is great. So you can put in play any of these animals that I displayed before, which is a total of 8 ninja cards. We run 3 Pain Naraka Path. Now, he's pretty much one of the best cards of the deck because of what he can do. So first of all, you have to sacrifice one ninja when he comes into play. Now, while your turn marker is even, your opponent cannot use odd mission cards, which is really good. During your mission phase, you can play the Outer Path, which is from your reinforcement deck. He allows you to pretty much revitalize a lot of your ninja cards, and he has the ability to heal all your ninja cards. We run 2 Pain Preda Path. He's our 3 cost. Again, when he comes into play, you have to sacrifice one of your ninjas. Now, during the exchange of Jutsu, if your turn marker is odd, you can negate one of your opponent's Jutsu cards, period. Or you can negate an effect on the board. So you can target one of your opponent's ninja effects and negate it for the turn. We run 2 Tobis, similar to the last deck profile. He became a main staple because of his ability. He's just a card that cycles through your deck and lets you put cards into your discard pile, which is very important. We run 1 Hidan. He's pretty much busted. He's a reusable ninja card. Anytime he's in your discard pile, you can give your opponent 1 battle reward. In that case, you can put him into play. We run 2 Pain Human Path. Same goes for him. You sacrifice a ninja. During the mission phase, while your turn marker is even, you're able to randomly select up to 2 cards from your opponent's hand and remove them from the game. They get those cards back at the end of the turn, which is a great way to be able to snipe threats out of your opponent's hand, and you're essentially manipulating what they can or can't do. The last ninja card we run is the deck. This is Pain Deva Path. Now, he is pretty much busted. He considers your turn marker as even and odd. All the cards I just showed you that if it's either even or odd, they all trigger. That means every pain in this deck is their effects are live. Not only this, but during the exchange of Jutsu, you can lower your turn marker by X, whatever your targeted ninja card's entrance cost is. So, example, let's say during the exchange of Jutsu, I target a turn 2 card from my opponent's team. I lower my turn marker by 2. That's the cost. And then my effect that's placed on the chain, meaning now my opponent can try to respond. They can, or if they don't have a respond, I can push that ninja and make them standby. And standby essentially means that that ninja becomes on a team of his own and is no longer battling. Moving on to our mission cards. We run 1 The Lord's Convene. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck and you add a ninja to your hand and then the rest gets shuffled back. It's just a great card because on turn 0, you can use it. So right off the rip, if let's say I don't have a 0 drop, I can actually fetch for a 0 drop, which is amazing since I don't run that many. So essentially this card is like having a 10th 0 drop in my deck. The next card we run is 3 Void World. Now this card is a big piece of the deck. For one, it's a permanent that costs 0 and it's turn 0. So anytime you play a Void Ninja card, you put a coin on this mission card. When you accumulate 2 coins or more, you can remove 2 to draw 1 card. If you have 10 or more Ninja Blade coins on this card, you can reset your opponent's turn marker to 0, which is devastating. The Time of Pain. If you have 2 or more Renegon and or Akatsuki ninjas in play, you draw 1 card and you move your turn marker up by 1. As I said, this deck is constantly abusing the turn marker mechanic. Last but not least, my favorite mission card of the deck, Invasion. You draw 1 card for each ninja card that you have with sacrifice. All the Pain ninja cards in this deck have sacrifice. So if you control 2 of them, you draw 3 cards because you draw 1 card regardless, and then you draw 1 for each, which is great. So you can draw tons of cards. There have been plenty of games where you'll see me draw 4 or 5 cards plus, which is just insane. Now moving on to our Jutsu cards. We run the 1 Flower Shuriken. Again, this card was restricted to 1. You guys know this from my previous deck profile. It costs 2. A ninja with ninjutsu can use it, which majority of the ninjas, as you can see, have the ninjutsu characteristic. For every jutsu card in your discard pile, you deal damage. You can snipe any one ninja on the board, which is extremely powerful. Moving forward, we run 3, the Fang of Pain. This is another turn marker manipulation, but the requirements are Renegon plus animals. As you saw earlier, we run 8 animals, which are our Giant Chameleon, our Giant Panda, and our Giant Rhino. Effect, you move your turn marker up by 1, and combination, if you have another ninja with Renegon on the team, you draw a card from the bottom of your deck. Now, the main jutsu of the deck, the Eyes of Pain. Now, earlier before, I said that there was 1 card that was very important for our lineup, and that is Nagato, Childhood. So, the Eyes of Pain, simply, it costs 1 generic, requirements Renegon. You move your turn marker up by 1, but Expert, if you have Nagato, you move your opponent's turn marker down by 1. So you move your turn marker up by 1, and then you move your opponent's turn marker down by 1. You automatically put yourself by a 2 difference from the get-go. And if you went first in the game, imagine dropping this bad boy on turn 0. You end your turn, you let your opponent go. They drop their turn 0. Now you're on turn 1. You attack them. You activate this card. You push them back to turn 0. And now you go up to turn 2, which is insane. And then at the end of your turn, you go up to turn 3, and they're still on turn 0. So now you're up by 3 turns if you went first. This card is busted, and it's very strong for this deck. But unfortunately, it's not as consistent, meaning that Bandai semi-knew what they were doing with the deck. They didn't make it too easy to get the combination of cards. So you have to draw both of them. But since I'm running max copies, you're gonna see it. Summoning Jutsu Pain, another favorite of mine. So for 1, it costs 3 generic. It requires a Renegon plus ninjutsu this time around. The effect, you search your deck for up to 2 Renegon ninja cards with an entrance cost of X. And you reveal them, and you move one onto the field, and you move the other one to your hand. Now, X equals your turn marker. Now, what's great about this is that this also has an expert effect, which is Pain Animal Path. You move the bottom card of your deck to your hand, so it replaces itself. So if, let's say, it's your turn 3, you can use this effect, and you can search for a turn 3 battle card, add it onto the board, and then you can search for another, let's say, turn 0 battle card, and add it to your hand. So you can do any combination as long as it adds up to your current turn marker. Last but not least, we run Almighty Push. As you guys may already know, it is his jutsu, specially designed for him. So simply put, it costs double X. Double X means that for any amount of chakra you spend, you have to spend double the amount. So if I spend 2 chakra, I have to spend 4 chakra. If I spend 3, I have to spend 6. Now, essentially, if your user of this jutsu card is Devapath, it only costs X, which just means that now you only pay whatever amount. If you pay 2, it only costs 2. And the effect is you apply the effect based on your current turn marker. If it's even or odd. If it's even, you draw 1 card and move the bottom card of your deck to your hand. So example, if you paid, let's say, 2 with Devapath Pain, you will move the top 2 cards of your deck to your hand and the bottom 2 cards of your deck to your hand. So essentially, he just drew you 4 cards with Almighty Push. Now, if the effect is odd, you can make ninjas standby, which is great. So you can essentially, if you pay 2 or 3, you're pushing 2 or 3 ninjas back, which is perfect because it's just like the move from the show. Almighty Push pushes characters back, which essentially is making them standby. And then you have the perk that if you have him on board, specifically Devapath, he makes your turn marker even and odd, meaning that if, let's say, you spend any amount of chakra you spend, you get both effects. You're drawing cards from the top of your deck, you're drawing cards from the bottom of your deck, and you're making ninjas standby, which is amazing. And what's so cool is that it does not target. This card does not target your opponent's ninjas. So if there are any effects that say this ninja cannot be targeted, it goes over that, which is really powerful. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. It's one of my babies, one of my favorite decks to play. You guys actually can see some gameplay footage of it from last year. You'll love the deck. I know many of you have asked me, oh my God, what do you play? What's your ratio? And now you have it. You have the deck that I was using at certain events that I dominated with and that I used for casual fun because it was just so strong and it's meta defined. This deck is part of the meta. It's a very, very strong deck and it can beat just about anything, especially if you open up with Nagato and Eyes of Pain. That can beat any deck if you can open up with those 2 cards, especially if you draw several copies of Eyes of Pain. Thank you all for watching this video. Again, I appreciate all the subscribers. Thank you so much. As always, this channel is all about you.